This is our only chance. As soon as I decide that, I stop my constant barrage of magic for a moment and focus my energy on weaving a bigger spell. Sensing that, Mirazofis changes focus to target me with his next spell, Uck. Kunayako steps in with a quick slash to stop him. Mirazofis blocks his attack with his sword. At the same time, the magic sniper and the child attack Mirazofis with more magic. For just a moment, Mirazofis grimaces. If he redirects the spell that was meant for me, he can cancel out the other two magic attacks. He's pulled it off all this time, so I don't see why it should be any different now. But Mirazofis doesn't do that. He lets the sniper attack and the wind magic hit him dead on, and instead of counterattacking with dark magic, he uses it to attack me instead. The sniper's attack hits him in the chest, followed by the wind magic hitting the back of his head. And a spear of darkness pierces my stomach. But I finished constructing my magic. Bearing the pain, I activate the spell. Tempest Magic, Dragon Wind. The spell engulfs Mirazofis instantly. NGH. Even Mirazofis can't dodge Dragon Wind, a spell that's usually meant to cause destruction on a huge scale, and it's Ultra Grand Magic, which normally can't be cast by a single person. Ultra Grand Magic surpasses even Grand Magic in power and is strong enough to take down a dragon. I know, because this is the spell we used to defeat the Lightning Dragon. Surely, even Mirazofis couldn't survive. Arg. A shout of determination. The flash of a blade. Just like that, my most powerful spell dissipates into thin air. This can't be happening. Can it? Of course he's not unharmed, but Mirazofis is still standing firmly on 2 feet. Even though he was blasted in the chest and hit in the back of the head. The head with magic right before the dragon wind hit. It's as if he took virtually no damage from those at all. How high must his stats be to make that possible? We're doomed. Just as the thought sinks in, Kunayako slashes down at Mirazofis. Immediately, Mirazofis prepares to parry. But an attack from the sniper pierces his hand, and wind magic stops him from moving. Then Kunayako's full-body strike cuts into Mirazofis' shoulder. NGH. But while normally this diagonal sword slice should have cut straight through him, it just sinks into Mirazofis' shoulder and stops. His defenses are too strong because of his sheer stats. Kunayako's attack failed to deal enough damage. Mirazofis swings his sword and knocks Kunayako away. Then he puts a hand on his shoulder and bellows. Withdraw. With that, he turns his back and runs away from us. That was a clear call to retreat, almost overly dramatic. So much so that it practically seems put on. Kunayako stares after him in silence for a moment. Then he comes back to his senses and runs up to me. Asaka.
I'm okay. You call this okay?
Right now, I'm lying face up on the ground. Mirazofis' dark magic hit me in the gut. I'm guessing it blew a hole right through me. Kunayako hurriedly pulls out a recovery potion and pours it on the wound, where it sinks in stingingly. Don't die. Don't you dare die on me. Don't worry. I don't think I'm going to. I'm not putting on a brave face. I genuinely feel like I'll probably survive. Stats really are an amazing thing. Normally, with a hole like this in your gut, you'd die for sure. But between the HP, auto-recovery skill and the healing magic I've been casting on myself, I think I'm going to make it. He let us live again. I know. Once he figures out that I'm really not on the verge of death, Kunayako mutters quietly as he continues treating me. If that fight had continued, we would have lost. We managed to injure Mira's office, but that's it. Each of us attacked him with everything we had. And even then, the most we could manage was a scratch. Even if we'd fought with the will to sacrifice ourselves in the process, I still don't think we could have won. I'm no good. I still gotta get stronger. You don't need to get that strong, really, that's what I want to say. I never want to experience danger like this again. There's no guarantee that he'd let us live again next time. They do say the third time's the charm, after all. This is now the second time that Mira's office has decided to spare us. When he wiped out the clan that birthed and raised us, he let us go free purely on a whim. And today, it happened again. Although I don't know what his reasoning was this time. Are you all right? As I'm lost in thought, the child in the robe comes running over. She really helped us get through this battle. I should thank her. Thank you very much. Your support was greatly appreciated. You can thank me later. First, we have to heal you. It's all right, I can stand. My wound has mostly closed up. It's certainly still painful, so I can't push myself too much until it's fully healed, but I should be able to get up and walk around at least. We're still on a battlefield, meaning I can't just lie around, so I start to sit up. I catch a glimpse of the hooded figure's face, a young girl, looking wide-eyed and surprised by the speed of my recovery. I couldn't tell in the middle of battle because her hood was pulled over her eyes, but she's a real beauty. And judging by her overall appearance, now I understand how she was able to fight so well. Ah, so you're an elf. The girl's pointed ears give it away. Elves live even longer than demons, and they're said to be especially skilled at magic. As a result of their long lifespans, they age relatively slowly, so this girl is probably a lot older than she looks. This girl and one other. I looked at the fort. I don't know who it was or what they looked like, but there was a mage supporting us by sniping at Mira's office throughout our fight. Without the help of these two, we wouldn't have even been able to begin to fight Mira's office. Exhaustion is becoming harder and harder to ignore, but there's no time to waste. I push away the desire to simply lie down and sleep. Kunayako reaches out his hand, and I let him pull me to my feet. How's the battle looking? Seems like they're retreating. Looking around, I can just barely see the demon army pulling back. And I see the adventurers who were fighting them, too, with Mr. Gotu among them. Maybe Mira's office noticed that their battle was going poorly for the demons and decided to make a tactical withdrawal. If so, we owe a lot to Mr. Gotu and the others. I suppose we should head back, then. Yeah. Both of us are too exhausted to fight anymore anyway. If we tried to chase the retreating demons, Mira's office might actually kill us once and for all. No, we should quit while we're ahead. Are you coming? Yes. The elf takes off her hood and nods. But first, I should introduce myself to you, Tagawa and Kushitani. For a moment, I'm so tired that it doesn't register as strange for her to know our names. But then I realize, Kunayako and I have never used our old family names in this world, so how does this girl know them? My name is Philimos Harafelas. But in your case, perhaps I should give my old name instead. In my previous life, I was Konami Okasaki. Kunayako's eyes widen in shock, and so do mine. Because that's the name of our old homeroom teacher. Chapter Aurel. Hiya. It's everyone's favorite, leap, year-old, Aurel. Yep, my age is a secret. I am the daughter of a noble family, you know. Even if we're damn broke. But being a cute little noble lady who's still unmarried at my age, I'm starting to fall behind the curve here. According to my life plan, I was supposed to be married by now and have popped out a kid or two, so what the hell happened? See, I'm the second daughter of a poor noble family in the boonies of the Empire. Yep. I'm from the sticks, I'm poor, and to top it all off, I'm not even the oldest. At that point, being nobility doesn't really mean a damn thing. If I were the eldest daughter, I might have still been able to get married off into some other friendly noble fam, but since I'm not, I wouldn't hold my breath. Besides, there's not a thing to be gained by getting close to a poor noble family like ours anyway, so I doubt there are gonna be people lining up for a marriage with us in the first place. Oh, by the way, my older sister did manage to get married off to someone in a neighboring country. And my older brother's gonna take over as head of the family, so I really gotta get hitched someplace. But since we're dirt poor and all, finding someone is a huge pain in the ass. We really don't have coin or anything to offer, either, so yeah. That's why I was shipped out as a live-in assistant so I could raise some dough and make a few connections at the same time. It's not super unusual for a noble family's second or third daughter to be sent out as a live-in servant to a higher-ranking house. You get paid, and if you're lucky, you might even meet someone special. Depending on how good a worker you are, there's a chance you can stay on with that family permanently, except, since I'm from the boonies and I have the mouth of a sailor, I more or less got thrown out before I even made it through the damn interview. I guess I just ain't got what it takes to act like a proper lady, so I never get picked for that kinda crap. But while I was practically going on a damn world tour of failing every interview, I was lucky enough to run into Mr. Ronant as a potential employer. Ronant is the #1 strongest court mage in the whole empire, the elite-est of the elite. Basically, he's a damn living legend. But I thought, for a guy that important to hire some chick from the boonies like me, there's gotta be a catch, yeah? Oh, there was a catch, all right. If I had to sum up that geezer in a word, I could go with perv, magic-obsessed moron, freak, total brute, and so on. Oops, that was more than one word, huh? Basically, the dude is unhinged. But if I ran away from this job, I'd never be able to find work again. So I bravely held my tears at bay and served the damn weirdo. Looking back, this is where my life started to get real weird. Work for the geezer, save up money, and get married to someone who's loaded enough to at least make sure I won't go hungry, even if they're a commoner. That was my highest goal at the time. Best I can hope for, with my damn dirty mouth. I should have given up on the idea of marrying into a noble family from the start. My poor-ass family is barely any better off than commoners, so I didn't really mind getting out of the nobility game anyway. If I can just be a commoner with a half-decent life, that's good enough for me, damn it. And yet, my prime marrying years are pretty much over, and I'm still friggin' single. But maybe not being married is the least of my problems right now. Why the hell am I on a shitty battlefield anyway? Goddamn, this is a real mess. I end up grumbling out loud despite trying to rein it in. How does the second daughter of a poor noble house from the boonies end up as a court mage? If you're confused, that makes two of us, basically. It's all that damn geezer's fault for saying you have a talent for magic and forcing me to be his apprentice. Mostly cause the hero Sir Julius, who became the geezer's apprentice first, barely survived his insane training. You can't even call that training at all. It was straight up torture. He literally looked like he was gonna die, so I used healing magic on him on the spot, and that's when everything went to shit. The old geezer saw me do it and assumed I was good at magic or something. But the only reason I knew how to do it in the first place is cause when we were traveling in a carriage a while back, the old man used healing magic to fix up my sore butt, so I thought, hey, that's pretty damn handy, I should learn it and practiced in secret. There wasn't any real reason for me to hide it, but looking back, I think young me really made the right call. Because the moment the geezer found me out, my life turned into a living hell thanks to the torture he calls training. I've tried to escape him tons of times since then, but that old man is a space magic master. No matter where I run, he always chases me down with teleportation. So I figured my only choice was to learn teleport, too. But learning space magic just wound up making things worse. The government itself started taking notice, and before I knew it, I got shoved into a court mage seat and even got a fancy title. All I wanted was a roof over my head and food in my belly. Instead I found myself moving up in the damn world instead. All 'cause space magic is super rare. But since I've got a personal noble title now, maybe someone will actually wanna marry me. Except I've been so damn busy with work that I haven't had time to even worry about that. Imperial court mages have a lot of crap to do, you know. And even when I'm free, I end up having to teach things to the other court mages and their apprentices and stuff, for the sake of future generations or some junk. One day, I'll be like, sweet, I don't have any work today. And then the next day, I'm suddenly drowning in more crap I have to do. Where am I supposed to find the time to meet someone to marry now? Honestly, though, this war takes the cake. Why is a sweet young maiden like me giving orders on a battlefield, huh? Uck. I just wanna retire, damn it. Right now, I'm giving directions to restore a fort wall that got wrecked. Luckily, the damage was fairly light, so the other court mages and I can get the wall back into half-decent shape, even if we can't fix it completely. Mom, could you help us instead of complaining, please? One of my fellow mages starts whining, but I'm having none of that crap, thanks. I just worked myself half to death, dude. Just let me rest a little, okay? Damn right. That's literally what happened. In fact, if I had made one wrong move, I really would have died. I was pushing my magic to its limits in that crazy long-distance firefight, you know. Who the hell was that freak? Since when does the demon army have someone like that? I hear the guy who messed up our fort's wall is a demon called Mirasophis or something, but his magic might have even been on par with my master's, which is ludicrous. Master Roland already falls way outside the normal limits of human strength, but I don't know if even he could bust the wall of a fort like this from such a long distance. Although the scary thing is that maybe he could. Do you think my master could have pulled this off? Surely, this would be madness even for Elder Roland, although I can't say for sure that it'd be impossible. My colleague seems to have the same opinion as I do on the matter. I mean, yeah, Master's pretty wild, but this Mirasophis guy seems absolutely monstrous, too. Mom, that makes it sound like Elder Roland isn't human. Well, yeah, he's definitely at least half given up on being human by now. Ah. The way that guy simply nodded like it all made sense really goes to show what the people around Master actually think of him. But that also means that the guy we just fought was so bizarre that he might have even been a decent match for my master. Honestly, if those young adventurer kids hadn't held him off, this whole damn fort might be a pile of rubble by now.
Perhaps
It was seriously that bad. My master likes to say, the truly strong can fight any number of riffraff with ease. Might as well have been talking about himself. Forget dozens, it'd take hundreds or maybe even thousands of people to try and take down that geezer. Since I've seen that geezer fight up close, I can understand this Mirasophis guy's insane level of power to an extent, but that doesn't mean I'm happy he's on the enemy side. I felt sorta bad for the demons who got sent to the fort where my master was stationed, but who decided I gotta fight a demon even stronger than those guys. Am I being punished for something I did or what? All I can think of is that time I snuck some poison into the geezer's food. Ah. You need 10 times this amount of poison if you want to kill me. Yeah, he was totally fine. Is that geezer really human? Honestly, sometimes I half seriously think he might be some super strong monster in disguise. I mean, the whole reason my life went off the damn rails is 'cause that monster of an old man set his eyes on me. I was supposed to be making out with my super hot husband by now. You're back on that again, Mom? I'm always talking about how I just want to marry half decently and retire, so I think my colleagues are sick of hearing it. Mom, if you really want to get married, all you'd have to do is rub that chest of yours up against whatever guy you want. No. You know what comments like that are called? Sexual harassment, damn it. Yeah, my chest is on the large side, that's for sure. It's one of the few things I can be proud of, but it also comes with a lot of problems. Like creepy stares from lots of dudes and some major back pain to boot. Even that behearted Sir Julius always glances at him whenever we meet. Well, the real problem is there aren't any guys I wanna marry. I think your standards are just too high, Mom. NNNGH. I can't argue with that, since it's kinda true. Especially since Julius happens to set the bar extremely high. Good looks. Perfect pedigree. Great personality. Power to spare. I know it doesn't make sense to compare other people to someone like that, but it's hard not to when you know an actual hero. The one downside is that being the wife of a hero sounds like a huge pain, but compared to that, the guys usually around me are all mages who are a bunch of weirdos, especially the geezer. I look at my colleague's face and heave a huge sigh. Mom, isn't that a bit rude? Whatever. I'm allowed to sigh at grown-ass men who call a younger lady Mom. That's right. All the other court mages, not just this guy, are older than I am. But they all call me Mom for some reason. And not even to be rude, I seriously mean it. For Imperial court mages, your magic power decides your position. And since I second only to the geezer in strength, that means I get almost as much respect as he does.
I guess some people might fancy the idea of a bunch of older guys falling all over themselves to heed your every word, but really, it just means I'm surrounded by damn magic-loving weirdos, okay?
Not exactly the kind of guy I'm looking to marry. But most of my days end up being spent with these guys from morning till night. I hardly ever meet anyone
Today
new,
is a
and
lucky
even
day.
if there's someone who catches my eye a little, I rarely get a chance to talk with them. Besides, most of those people are already engaged or married to boot. The best ones always get taken early, you know? Next thing you know, everyone half-decent's already spoken for, and there's hardly any damn singles left who are near my age. I might seriously be screwed at this point. Arg. Aren't there any awesome guys who are my age lying around somewhere? I mean, I can think of one. Huh? Who? Is my colleague gonna throw me a bone here?
What a pleasant
You know,
surprise.
Sir Hero.
Truly an extra slice
Arg.
of joy.
Makes sense. But that isn't an option. Sir Julius is way out of my league, dude. You think so? But you seem to be pretty close with him, so I do believe you have a chance, Mom. Like hell I do. Me and him aren't a good match. Why do you always sell yourself short like that, Mom? I don't think it's much of a stretch to say that Sir Julius, who's a prince and a hero, could do a hell of a lot better than some poor noble girl from the boonies. Besides, me and Sir Julius just aren't like that. I know he's super amazing and all, but that makes it even harder to see him as more than a friend. Sir Julius is a light, damn it. A light that draws people to him. All kinds of folks end up gathering around him and decide to walk alongside him of their own free will, you know? That's what makes him a hero.
What a pleasant
A
surprise.
legend.
Truly an
Yana the Saint once said that he's like gentle sunlight or something. But I don't think so. He's way more intense than that, like a fire blazing wildly in the darkness. You know it'll burn you if you get too close, but people can't help moving toward him
slice of
anyway.
joy.
And then they sacrifice themselves in his name. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It just shows how much charisma Sir Julius has, to the point that people want to dedicate themselves to him. But I just want to live in peace, so that light's a little too damn bright for me. Sir Julius is noble and all, but staying by his side kinda seems like a heavy burden to bear. Personally, I think he could stand to take it a little easier, you know. But he's always been super uptight, ever since he was a kid, so I don't think he'd be able to change the way he lives at this point. So being a step behind him as a friend is the right place for me. I see. I just hope he's not doing anything too crazy in this war. But knowing Julius, he'll end up doing something reckless no matter what anyone says to him. But that sort of sounds more like a worrying older sister than a friend, don't you think? I guess you could call it that. How fitting for you, Mom. Ugh. I can't say he's totally wrong, so I just quietly give my colleagues back a shove to send him off to finish fixing the wall. Right now, I'm more worried about whether Mira's office is gonna attack again than my stupid marriage prospects. Between those 3 adventurers and me sniping at him from here, we managed to chase him off, but I dunno if it's gonna go that well again next time. He seemed totally fine even after I landed a direct hit on him. I aimed right for his heart, too. I doubt there's a lot more freaks like him out there, but either way, it seems like this battle's gonna be harder than I thought. So much for the rumors that the damn demons being in such dire straits that we were even getting refugees at the border. I don't think folks like Master and Sir Julius are gonna go down easily, but I want to make sure they know to be extra careful.
Today is a lucky day.
But I guess I'm in no place to worry about other people right now. Better get down to business. Chapter Mira's office. I have to get stronger to protect the young miss. How long has it been since I made that resolution? Along the way, I somehow gained the position of 4th Commander of the Demon Army. I'm sure it's primarily because I'm an acquaintance of the Demon Lord. But in spite of my becoming their commander due to that connection, the 4th Army has been loyally following my orders to them. I am just an unknown man who showed up with the Demon Lord and suddenly became their leader. They would be well within their rights to doubt me. I am not even a demon but a vampire. I have been hiding that truth and living as a demon, so I am sure even my identity is still a mystery to them. So I feel nothing but gratitude to my men for treating me as their commander nonetheless. Technically, I did need to put in the work to earn this position. Originally, the 4th Army was commanded by Sir Balto. However, he was so busy with his work that his younger brother, Sir Blow, was generally in charge. I joined the 4th Army under Sir Blow's command and quickly worked my way up the ranks. When Sir Blow became the official commander of a different army, everyone remaining moved up a rank, myself included. From then on, my rank continued to go up, and by the time Sir Balto officially retired from his post as commander to focus on his political responsibilities, the Demon Lord Lady Ariel personally appointed me as the new commander. It's open knowledge that Lady Ariel brought me to the demon territory. Thus, I imagined that many people would object to a newcomer becoming commander so quickly. But to my surprise, there were no complaints from either the other commanders or the rank and file of the 4th Army. I thought it strange, but Lady Ariel simply smiled. "You really don't give yourself enough credit, Mira's office," she said. "And there's nobody more qualified to be a commander than you." Although Lady Ariel claims I do not give myself enough credit, it is my belief that she gives me far too much. The truth is, I am nothing more than a humble servant. Even if I've been reborn with the unusual race of a vampire, my fundamental nature has not changed. For an ordinary human such as myself to become a vampire, there is little change other than gaining a bit more power. And even that is nothing more than strength borrowed from the young miss, who is a progenitor vampire. It does not reflect any excellence on my part. But when I said all this, Lady Ariel simply warned me, "Too much modesty just comes off as obnoxious, you know." The truth is, I know she's right. With my power, I am more than capable of being a commander. Those around me are simply accurately gauging my value. But there is a part of me that does not want to admit this. For most, I imagine being valued highly would be cause for celebration, not denial. But there is a reason that I feel I must react in such a way. I am afraid of letting myself get too comfortable. Many things have gone wrong in this life of mine. Of course, I'm sure many people feel the same way. Like countless others, I ran into quite a few obstacles as an ordinary person. The first of these was unrequited
Where
love.
to?
The woman who I served, now the deceased mother of my young
How's it
mistress. As her servant, I fell in love with her, a love that was doomed to failure. She was already loved and in love with her fiancé, who of course was the young mistress's father. Given my position, and out of respect for their relationship, naturally I could not act on my feelings, and so the curtain fell on my first love. And the next great obstacle I encountered was their deaths. My love would never be fulfilled, but I wanted the woman I loved to be happy, at the very least. Thus I served her, and eventually her husband as well. And yet, both their lives were taken in an act of senseless violence. I still feel deep hatred toward the Church of the Word of God, who backed them into a corner, and most of all Patimas, who took their lives with his very own hand. But I was not strong enough. I did not have enough power to save them. These two are the biggest obstacles I have been unable to overcome, but I have encountered a great deal of smaller ones, too. Many times have I stumbled due to my lack of ability and lamented my own incompetence. In short, I have spent my life running into one insurmountable barrier after the next. Thus, I am unaccustomed to being respected by those around me. My lord found me dependable, but hardly in any manner that earned me a reputation. I have never been given a role such as commander that puts me in charge of many others, nor have I ever been assessed as someone worthy of such a role. That was why I was afraid that such high praise would go to my head, tempting me to rest on my laurels. What if I start to feel that this is good enough? That I've worked hard enough already? I am still not nearly strong enough. I decided long ago to dedicate this life of mine to the young miss, so it's all the more important that I am ready to protect her from danger. But her enemies are terribly powerful, and such meager strength as mine cannot shield her from them. Patimas, the leader of the elves. The Word of God religion, who drove my lord and lady to their deaths. Both are far too powerful for me to do anything about alone. But still, I must hone myself so that I can at least begin to resist them. I never wish to experience again the powerlessness I felt when I lost my lord and lady, and yet, it is difficult not to lose heart. I am an ordinary person. No matter how hard I might struggle, I can never reach the strength I desire. I know the incredibly powerful people around me are rare and exceptional, but I am still ashamed that I cannot muster even a fraction of their power. And what is hardest of all for me to accept is that the young miss, whom I am supposed to protect, is quickly leaving me behind. The young miss has grown a great deal. She was but a baby when we resided in Sariella, and still only an infant when we journeyed to the demon realm, so I thought she would remain a child even after we arrived. But now, the young miss is beginning to grow into a beautiful young woman, resembling her mother. When I was still human, an elderly person once told me that children grow up fast. I thought the young miss was still a child, but she started to climb the stairs to adulthood before I even realized it. Not only in her appearance but in strength, too, the young miss is already so powerful that I could not hope to match her. I am far weaker than the person I am meant to protect. That knowledge weighs heavily on my heart. And when I see how much she's exceeded me, so far that I can never catch up no matter how much effort I devote, a part of me is tempted to give up on moving forward at all. I am a coward. Truly, a pathetic coward. Even if I cannot reach her, no, especially because I know I cannot reach her, I must not stop striving for greater heights, or the gap between us will only grow more. Even now, when I'm running with all my might, the gap is already widening. So I must not allow the praise and acknowledgement of others to dampen my resolve and commitment. I cannot content myself with the way things are. I absolutely must not stop trying to catch up to her. Even if an ordinary person like me can never catch up no matter how hard I might try, I still cannot stop walking forward. Coward though I am, I must always stay steady, especially after what I just experienced. I still have a ways to go. After our retreat, I admonish myself back at the camp. I failed. My wounds have already closed up. They were light to begin with. If I kept fighting, I likely could have won. But I am the one who decided to retreat.
Falls behind.
I gave up on victory and chose failure of my own volition. Because the sun was out, the weakness of vampires such as myself. Because there were several reincarnations among our opponents. Because the other adventurers were stronger than I expected, and my army was being pushed back. Yes, I can think of any number of excuses. But that does not change the fact that I failed. I was fighting the reincarnations who were survivors of the clan I destroyed with my own 2 hands long ago. That young boy and girl have grown quite strong. Not nearly to the extent of other reincarnations like my young mistress and Wrath, but those 2 are likely far beyond the realm of the ordinary. I believe the pair I fought today was still quite formidable. I could not completely defeat them. Since they are reincarnations, I knew I was supposed to hold back so I wouldn't kill them, but the truth is, I wasn't holding back. I fought to the best of my ability, but I still couldn't bring them down. My stats and skills alike were unquestionably superior, but somehow, they still held their own against me. The boy's swordsmanship was skilled, his footwork sharp and precise. Even his blinking and breathing were methodical. He used the powers of his magic sword at just the right moments, never leaving an opening for me to exploit. The young girl was perfectly in sync with the boy, too. She managed to constantly pressure me with a hail of attack magic without ever getting in the boy's way.
Quake!
The way she wove her spells was smooth and flawless, and they were quite powerful. Truly, I cannot help but envy their natural talent. I have no such thing myself. Each swing of my sword is unsteady, and my command of magic is laughable. To cover my shortcomings, I train without rest. I practice swinging my sword over and over in a desperate attempt to steady my hands. I cast one spell after another, hoping the next will come together more smoothly. Repetition, repetition, repetition. And if I finally manage to pull it off perfectly, it's merely the product of dogged practice, not talent. But if I cannot do as well in live combat as in practice, it is all for naught. I cannot stand still in battle, like I do when I practice my swings. If I pause in the middle of fighting to construct a spell, I only make myself a tempting target. So I practice while moving around, as well. Once I started doing that, I simply became even more aware of my lack of talent. I stumble. I falter. There is nothing to do but correct these failings. To take another step forward, to start over. Even if I sometimes take a step backward and must start over yet again, those with natural talent may find it easy to handle such things, but it is not so simple for me. My only choice is to keep practicing until these things are second nature and carve the memory of every action into my body. But even that is difficult for me. On occasion, I'll manage a sword swing that I'm satisfied with. But other times, I cannot recreate it no matter how many times I try. Sometimes, I can do something perfectly one day but not the next. As I test things out, there are even occasions when I can't cast a spell correctly. All this experience doesn't necessarily add up to progress. I'm sure the truly strong, like Lady White or the young Miss, cannot relate to such struggles. Since they are constantly moving forward, they know not what it is for an ordinary person to stumble, stop, or even slide backward. Why can't you do this? They have no idea how cruel those words can be.
Strike a pose!
I finally reached the point where I can wield my sword and magic simultaneously, but not yet to the point where I can seamlessly shift from one movement to the next. If something unexpected happens, my reaction is inevitably delayed. I am sure the likes of my mistress or Lady White would never fail to make a snap decision in such situations. Simply another thing that illustrates the difference between those with talent and those without. I only managed to retain the upper hand in this most recent battle because my stats and skills were simply higher. Because I lack any talent myself, it is easy for me to identify, the reincarnation boy and girl have both been blessed with far more natural ability than myself. Their capacity to hold their own in a fight against me, even though I was theoretically stronger, is proof enough of that. Quite worrying.
The boy's
Today's battle ended with only minor injuries, but who knows how the same engagement might turn out in a few years' time? The difference in our natural abilities will translate into differing rates of growth. If people make the same amount of effort over the same time, the ones with more talent will grow more. Thus my only choice is to work even harder to close that gap, but time moves at the same rate for everyone and waits for none. The amount of time one can spend training is limited, too, which is one of the few cases in which the playing field is even regardless of one's natural talent. Even so, life is still unfair. Compared to those of us without talent, who must make more effort, those with talent are given the same amount of time to make as much effort as they choose. I know it is no use to bemoan things I do not have. And yet, I cannot help thinking, if only I had some talent. The thought never fails to drag me down. Perhaps that just goes to show how big of a shock this most recent loss was to me. To calm myself down, I examine my stats with appraisal. And in my skill column, I see the word perseverance. Perseverance, a skill that Lady White once had. It is one of a small amount of special skills known as ruler skills. I do not know why one as lowly as myself would be given such a skill, but I admit, it does seem fitting. All I know how to do is persevere. For one such as myself, without natural talent, there is no other way. Endure, persevere, and press on. That is the only way I can keep moving forward. As I gaze at this skill, I begin to feel that perhaps I can persevere and move forward again after all. Even if I know I cannot catch up to my young mistress and the others as they run on ahead. Even if the other talented youngsters who are running to catch up with me now will someday surpass me. I shall grit my teeth and keep on running as well. Chapter Pelmina. My name is Pelmina. Just Pelmina. There was a time once when I had a family name as well, but no longer. I was born into a distinguished demon family and wanted for nothing in my life. My father is the head of the Ministry of Finance as well as the 10th commander of the demon army, a rock-solid position by any measure. To be precise, I should say he was the 10th commander, but it was still the case when I lived with my family. There was no actual 10th army, so it was a paper title, but it still paid well enough that our family was quite affluent. But while we wanted for nothing, my family was accordingly harsh. Those who stand at the top must be in possession of the corresponding amount of strength and spirit. I'm sure all noble demon families raise their children with such beliefs, not just mine. The rumors that my family is far harsher with its children than the others are entirely unsubstantiated. Rote learning, training, etiquette lessons. From a young age, that is how I spent my days, and I believe I became a proper young lady who would not shame my family name. At least, I used to believe that. Because after a certain incident, my family